Welcome to Positive Path, a podcast ministry of Unity of San Antonio. Reverend Nina Clark, our senior minister, extends an invitation for you to join us in person on Sundays at 11 o'clock. Unity of San Antonio is a progressive spiritual community where everyone is welcome to attend and serve. We have many opportunities for you to get plugged in, including an active youth and family ministry, classes and workshops, fellowship after church, and many more fun events throughout the year. For more information, check out our website at unityofsa.org. Now, let's get into this week's message.
When I was in college in St. Thomas, every time I came back to the summer, there was a moment right at the end of the cul-de-sac that I lived on when I would sit in my car and wait. I didn't wait for anything poetic. I didn't wait for a sign from the universe or a sudden moment of clarity. I was waiting for any car to drive by so that I knew which lane to turn into. Because down there, they drive on the left. And I would sit at the end of the cul-de-sac confused because I couldn't remember which lane that I was supposed to pull into. And so I would really pray that no one would pull up behind me and force me to pick a lane because I was pretty darn sure it was going to be the wrong one. And once that car would drive by, and thank goodness that they usually did, I usually didn't have to wait too long, I would pull out at the speed of the proverbial tortoise in the tortoise and hare story, because life in the States moves about twice the speed of island life. And my body had gotten accustomed to that slower pace, to the subtle rhythms, and to the left side of the road. When I returned stateside, it seemed like everyone was racing around like Wile E. Coyote's buddy, the Roadrunner. It would take a couple of weeks as I was being my tortoise self, but slowly, before I knew it, I would be slowly speeding up, and pretty soon I would be road runnering around along with everybody else. It was kind of like driving from Maine to Maryland. Has anybody ever done that? Driving down I-95 down into New York from up north? Well, up until New York, you can do the speed limit. And when you hit New York, you can't do the speed limit, no matter how hard you try. So you're slowly cruising along at the speed limit, and then suddenly you're doing 95, and you don't even notice the difference. So it's kind of like that, coming back to the States. But that experience of returning home in contrast to the slow pace of the island helped me to see how living on St. Thomas had taught me how to slow down enough to be astonished again. Living on the island had taught me to live at what I like to call the speed of awe. And as we prepare to enter the holiday season, traditionally the time of year when the Western world collectively decides to sprint to the end of the year, I want to remind us that there is another way, a gentler way, a more spiritually grounded way. Because the truth is, we're not meant to go through life breathless, rushed, or feeling like we're running 5 steps behind ourselves. Cultivating awe can bring us back into alignment, back into the awareness of ourselves as expressions of the divine. The Oxford Dictionary defines awe as a feeling of reverential respect mixed with fear or wonder. And Merriam-Webster defines it as an emotion variously combining dread, veneration, and wonder that is inspired by overwhelming greatness, as in beauty, power, or size. And I want to say that, personally, fear and dread have not ever been a part of my awe experience. So while that might be the definition, I encourage you to hold it lightly. But many of the descriptions of awe include encountering vastness and experiencing transcendence. And thus we often associate the feeling of awe with things like gazing at the star-studded night sky, or having a close encounter with the vastness of the Grand Canyon, or the magnificence of Niagara Falls, or seeing a double rainbow, or the ocean for the first time. We can also experience awe when we are hearing a powerful piece of music, like I did today, listening to the two of you and our band, or meeting a celebrity. How many people have had that opportunity? Oh my God, it's Meryl Streep. Or whoever, insert your celebrity of choice. But because we tend to associate awe with the natural wonder or the powerful music or the something grand out there, we talk about these things as being awe-inspiring, and we forget that the awe is in us. It's not in the music or in the Grand Canyon or in the double rainbow. Awe is in us. It's not in an object, it's not in the music, it's in the one who sees, the one who hears, the one who has the experience. And that's you. That would be you, and that would be me. And we can't experience it if we're sprinting. We have to slow down. Slowing down is a portal to awe. And awe isn't just an emotional reaction, it's actually a spiritual doorway. It's what happens when we step out of autopilot long enough to let something humble us, delight us, or remind us that we are part of a vast, shimmering, interconnected universe. In his book, Awestruck, psychologist Jonah Paquette validates this. He tells us that one of the ways to experience more awe in our lives is to slow down. And what's more, by doing so, we create space for awe to emerge in what we think of as ordinary. When we slow down, we tend to become more aware of our senses, and we allow ourselves to more fully experience the moment. And when we do this, we make space for awe to find us. As Anais Nin wrote, we don't see things as they are. We see things as we are. And our New Thought teachers would agree. We don't just live in the world, we live in our consciousness of the world. And when that consciousness is frantic, we experience a frantic life. And when consciousness is spacious, grounded, calm, connected, we can experience awe. Back to the islands. I was a biology major at the College of the Virgin Islands with a marine science emphasis. And even in that rigorous science program, where, for the record, I did not spend my senior year lounging on the beach with coconut drinks, I still found myself learning the slow, relational rhythm of the island. Part of the curriculum every year involved sitting and watching. My classmates and I would find a spot in nature and do biologist things, like counting how many times lizards would do push-ups, or flare their dewlaps, or throat fans. Or we would count mongoose, either how many we saw or how many times we saw them pop their heads up out of a hole. We hunted for spiders and other insects. We snorkeled and scuba dived and observed all kinds of marine life while floating in the warm, salty ocean. And all the while, incrementally, we would shed the speed of stateside life and slip into the slower pace of the island. And as I slowed down, I became awestruck at the beauty and the intricacy that was all around me. I found myself in awe of the diversity of life, of the terrifyingly bright yellow of a huge spider, the elegant beauty and fragrant of plumeria blossoms, and the courage of a parrotfish as he defended his little hole by getting all up in my face mask and talking to me. I was in awe of his courage. And I was in awe when I climbed above the clouds in the Puerto Rican rainforest so that I was above looking down at them. I didn't realize it at the time, but my slowing down was the reason that awe could catch up to me. And if you look back over your lives and think about the times that you've experienced awe, I'm sure it will come as no surprise that they often correlate with times that you slowed down. Remember, we said awe is in us. It is therefore also relational. We can be in awe during our interactions with others. Because the science department at my school was also collaborating with other agencies and colleges for a research project, they had periodic deliveries of mice. And when the professors from the college attempted to pick up these deliveries, they would walk into the customs office with their stateside speed and their efficiency and their let's get this moving energy, and they would return to the campus empty-handed every time. And their eyebrows would be in positions that eyebrows were not meant to be in. And so they sent me. And I don't think they had much hope that I could do better, and for that matter, neither did I, but I thought, okay, I'll go give it a go. And I walked in and looked around, and something in me said I wasn't going to get anywhere by starting off with mice. So I let myself be a human being instead of a doing. I slowed down. And so I greeted the woman behind the counter with a curiosity and a smile, and I asked how she was doing. I asked if she'd had a good weekend. Yes, she had. And I told her about my weekend, and this led to questions about family and good places to eat, and we chatted, we laughed, and she asked me where I lived when I wasn't at school, and somewhere in that simple human interaction, I felt it, this spark of awe. This person, this moment was sacred. Awe is relational. Awe was meeting what was right in front of me with reverence. Awe is recognizing the divine in every day, in the ordinary everyday, and in each other. After about 10 minutes, she looked at me and said, "Honey, are you here for something?" I said, "Yeah, I think there's a delivery for us at the college." And she nodded like she knew that was my reason for being there the whole time. And with a smile, she walked into the back, came out with the box, and placed it on the counter, just like that. Interestingly, awe isn't something that makes us feel good. That's not its only purpose. It does make us feel good, but it's not just about that. Science tells us that awe reduces inflammation. It lowers stress. It increases compassion. People who cultivate awe are more generous. Some studies show that awe sharpens our brains. Awe allows us to experience inner peace and humility and puts our anxieties into perspective. And New Thought tells us the same thing, but just different language. Awe attunes us to the divine flow. Awe softens our egos, helps us to see and experience the interconnectedness in all things, and thus lifts the veil of separation, even if just for a breath. When we cultivate awe, we learn that the divine is not just in the mountaintop moments. It's in the everyday ones. The steam rising from your morning cup of coffee or tea. The way someone's eyes soften when you really listen. The light coming through a window like it has a message for you. A leaf falling with the choreography of a beautiful ballerina. And the sudden awareness that you are held and guided and loved. Awe doesn't just come when life is special. Awe comes when we're present enough to notice the specialness that is always and already there. A final story. When I was in high school, I worked at a large community horse stable, and I would go almost every day after school and definitely on the weekends, mucking out stalls, feeding and watering the horses in exchange for boarding my own horse and for riding lessons. And so on Saturdays, I would arrive early and feed and water the horses in 3 different barns and then turn them out to pasture. That done, I would sit on top of the pasture or paddock fences and fill the water troughs. This was a slow process. And when I first got the job, I would sit on the fence and fidget, anxious to get the task over with so that I could get on with my other duties. But once I realized the futility of me trying to think the water into flowing faster, I'd settle in and watch the wind in the trees and the horses doing their thing, birds wheeling up above in the breeze or hopping along the fence. And before long, this sense of awe would fill me. How truly amazing life was in its abundance and its diversity. Each horse different, each cloud unique, each insect with its place in the ecological scheme of things. And I would be overcome. So we don't have to wait for special vacations and tropical climes or magical moments to experience awe. It's waiting for us as we water our lawn or weed our gardens or wash our dishes, if we'll slow down inside long enough for awe to catch up to us. When we slow down, we reawaken the capacity for awe, the kind of awe that sneaks up on you at a stoplight or while washing a grape, or when that low-angle autumn afternoon sunlight slants across the road as you're driving home and your favorite song comes on the radio. Awe is a spiritual practice. It's a way of allowing our minds to be blown by the miracle of life. And we miss it when we are speeding along at 85 miles an hour. Even as I look out at each of you, just those of you here in this building this morning, think about it. Each one of you is a living book of stories, each with your own history, your own journey, and the story of you that is still unfolding. And here we all are, this blending of stories as we share space, all of us becoming part of each other's stories. And when I think about that, I am in awe. It's amazing, isn't it? I'm in awe of our singers, our musicians, and that brings us back to this moment, standing at the doorway of the holiday season. You know this season. We were just here 12 months ago. It's that time of year when the calendar gets increasingly crowded and aisles get narrower and expectations get higher and the to-do list gets longer. It's that time of year where everyone suddenly decides to live at the speed of a caffeinated squirrel. I no longer get my annual reminder anymore to slow down, those moments of sitting at the end of my cul-de-sac waiting for a car to remind me which side of the road to drive on. And so these days, if I'm not paying attention, I join the rest of the world in racing around, shopping lists in one hand, to-do lists in the other, and a sense of hurry that rushes me past so many amazing moments and miracles. But if we decide to cultivate awe, we just might get to the other side of this holiday season feeling nourished and with a renewed sense of reverence for life. We have agency over how we move through this season. We get to choose. Will I barrel through November and December on autopilot? Or will I deliberately, intentionally, spiritually shift gears? The holidays are not meant to be a marathon of getting it all done. They are meant to be a portal, an opening into wonder. And so as we begin our journey into the holiday season, I want to offer you the invitation this year, just an experiment, to meander, to amble through the holidays, to be a human being rather than a human doing, to slow down enough to be astonished by God again. Let yourself soften to awe. Let yourself breathe deeper than the moment demands. Let yourself be present enough to catch the miracles that are trying so hard to wave you down. Because in that slow lane, you will find yourself. You will find yourself. And you will find peace. And you will find God whispering, slow down. Look again. This moment is shimmering. And I'd like to leave you with a few simple ways to cultivate awe, not later when the holidays are over, not once everything calms down, but right in the middle of this beautiful chaos. 1, just for 30 seconds, stop. Look at something absolutely ordinary and let it be extraordinary. Explore it with your senses. 2, pick one thing, your coffee, a leaf, your partner's voice, the smell of cinnamon in the kitchen, and pay attention to it as though you are witnessing it for the first time. Just like you can never step into the same river twice, you are experiencing this particular moment for the first time. And once a day, ask yourself, what is here for me to notice right now? And then actually look. And then if you would like, make note of your experiences in an awe journal. Over time, done consistently, your experience of awe will grow. As we journey into the upcoming holiday season, I'd like to leave you with a blessing. May you move through your days at the speed of awe. May your awareness be soft enough to notice wonder hiding in plain sight. May the ordinary surprise you with its holiness. May the people that you encounter be seen by you. And may you remember again and again that you are held in a love that asks nothing of you but your presence. Awe is not rare. It's everywhere. It's inside of you. And it's waiting in the cul-de-sac. It's waiting at customs. It's waiting in your living room. It's waiting in the checkout line. And it's waiting with this very breath. Life can happen at the speed of awe. It's up to us to live in a way so that we recognize it.
Thank you for listening today. I want to invite you to check out our Positive Path meditations. You can take a listen anytime you need to recenter and realign. Have a wonderful day.